Starting route to Burger King. Head south on Southeast End Avenue, then turn right onto East Hyde Park Boulevard.
Any way you want to look at it, GPS mapping is a lifesaver. Whether driving, walking, biking, or using public transportation, it's comforting to have turn-by-turn directions to almost any place on the planet.
In 1.3 miles, turn left onto South Wells Street.
Wouldn't it be awesome if Apple Maps could identify my current location in the process of starting a nonprofit, and then provide turn-by-turn directions to raising seed money or developing our first program?
In half a mile, turn right onto East Garfield Boulevard.
Here's an idea. Let's try to enter our destination into Apple Maps and chart our turn-by-turn directions for strategic planning. In this episode, we're putting on our cartographer hats and charting out our plan to turn an idea into action. Welcome to the Nonprofit Starter Podcast. If you haven't already, go back and check out the previous episode where we look at the importance of identifying the need for an idea. The previous episode is like the Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, of strategic planning.
Mr. called Jar Jar Binks. Mr. Your humble servant.
That won't be necessary.
Oh, but it is. It is demanded by the
Well, without Jar Jar Binks. With the needs assessment, we figure out if there's even a need for our awesome idea. In this episode, we take the why and add the how through strategic planning. In 2007, On Strategy, which is a platform designed for strategic planning, identified that of 26,000 startup business failures, 67% of those businesses started without a plan. It's crazy to think that the simple action of essentially making a to-do list can be the difference between success and failure. Well, I like to say setback. Whether your organization is strategically planning for fundraising, marketing, or programming, here are 5 essential components to the strategic plan. Think of it as your turn-by-turn directions to taking the idea to action.
Here are your turn-by-turn directions from idea to action.
Let's get started. Number 1, the mission. After identifying the need, you'll need to design a clear mission statement. Think of this as opening the Map app on your phone and typing in the destination. In the previous episode, Nerdy Media identified the need for programming to address high unemployment rates and the significant skills gap of Chicago's underserved communities. We clearly defined the mission for our first program, Wearing the Crown, which is a life and career skills workshop with the mission to equip those entering the workforce with a 21st century perspective. Now that we've already defined our goal by writing a mission, next, we need to define the intentions.
Starting route to strategic planning.
Number 2, intentions.
After indicating the destination, Apple Maps gives us transportation and route options. This is where we decide which route will help us arrive on time. The intention phase of the strategic plan starts out with a wish list for impact. In this phase, we make a list of our short-term and long-term vision. These lists are followed by a sub-list of activities to get us there. Our short-term intentions lists are easily achievable activities. Our long-term intentions are all about innovation. We are passionate about our causes, and we work hard for sustainable impact. The long-term intentions list is our vision of sustainable impact. Developing an action plan for our long-term intentions is the heart of the strategic plan. It's a guide to initiate and drive social impact innovation in the communities we serve. The short and long-term intentions help us to decide the best routes to take that vision for sustainable impact into action. Developing the life and career skills workshop Wearing the Crown Our short-term intentions are to educate and promote critical thinking. The long-term goal for this workshop is to equip underserved communities with the confidence and fundamental concepts to remain relevant in today's competitive job market.
Proceed to the route. Your estimated arrival time is 1 week.
How do we know if we are on track? We'll need to measure success.
Number 3, the measure of success.
Once we decide the best route, we click Start. Maps outlines the path we'll take from the current location to the destination, traffic delays, and the arrival time. These amazing features are tools we use to measure the accuracy and the reliability of the app. When strategically planning, we develop a tool to help measure the success of our plan. Establishing a method to measure the outcome helps us to identify what's working and where to modify our efforts. Deciding the best tools for our organization could take the form of data collection and analysis. Measuring the outcome demonstrates accountability and success. Thinking about how to measure the success of wearing the crown, we came up with an essential question, then identified the most useful means to collecting data. Now that we know where we want to go, how to get there, and how long it will take, the next thing to do is take action.
In 1.4 miles, take a left on Long-Term Goals Boulevard. Then take a right on Short-Term Goals Avenue.
Number 4, action.
We listen closely for the first set of instructions. The journey begins when we take that first action. Trusting the turn-by-turn directions will eventually take us to our intended destination. The action phase is the most exciting. It's where the plan goes from a simple document to actions that impact communities. This is where we figure out what needs to happen and when, and also what resources we need. This phase is both exciting and overwhelming. Taking the time to outline the turn-by-turn directions, you'll visualize connecting the dots from idea to impact. It can be sometimes overwhelming when those actionable steps and resources expand. Here's where the shit gets real. You may find your plan is doing the most, and it may be necessary to modify the plan into phases or baby steps. It's okay to think big, but don't set yourself up for setback. Remember, you want to make a social impact, and sometimes that means realizing your organization only has the capability to address one need at a time. When we initially designed Wearing the Crown, the workshop was the first of 3 much larger programming goals for the year. As a startup nonprofit, in the incubator phase, we quickly realized our limited capability and refined our programming plan to a single workshop. Restructuring our programming plan was the first of many steps that we hope will eventually guide us to our intended destination.
Your destination will be on the right in 1.1 miles.
All the planning, assessment, and implementation will eventually lead to the intended destination. Hearing,
"You have arrived,"
is oh so satisfying. When the strategic plan eventually navigates our organizations to the intended social impact, we are reminded of the importance of social entrepreneurship. In the 5th and final phase of the strategic plan is where we illustrate the impact. Analyzing and reporting the success of your intended impact has several benefits. Sharing the impact report heightens awareness of your cause. The impact report is a tool for reflection. It helps to identify the possibilities to refine and expand your mission. We look forward to illustrating the impact of Wearing the Crown. Our programming plan has served as a valuable tool to guide the workflow of our first programs, whether it's Apple Maps or Google Maps. These modern tools have become essential for our everyday lives. We rely on them because they work. The strategic plan is the Apple Maps for the startup. It outlines turn-by-turn directions to take an idea to action. It helps us beat the odds of startup setback. Thanks for listening, and head over to nerdymedia.org to download the handy strategic planning worksheets designed to guide you through the process. We'd love to learn more about your organization's approach to the strategic plan. Next week, we're going to party like it's 2017.